evening and welcome to the India Development Debate right here on ET Now. I'm Supriya, Shrinate, and with me is Sandeep, Gurumurthi. It hasn't even been 24 hours since the watershed moment for India's startup ecosystem, and a day after the world's #1 retailer Walmart bought controlling stake in India's Flipkart for a jaw-dropping $16 billion, the deal has come under fire from RSS affiliates, the Swadeshi Jagran Manch, and various trader bodies and entities. These organizations allege that the deal is nothing but Walmart's backdoor entry into India's buzzing retail space. Upset protesters have taken to streets and sought the intervention of none other than the Prime Minister himself. Protesters have also raised questions about the impact of this deal on small-time kirana traders and also the Indian farmers.
Now, these protests are deeply rooted and politically driven, but Walmart has some skeletons of its own. It has slashed over 4 lakh jobs in the United States, according to an Economic Policy Institute study. So the moot question is, are the protests against Walmart's entry justified, or is it yet another case of misplaced nationalism? Can India, that advocates globalization and free trade, afford to cold shoulder the giant of bent on will? And why is it that the government, which celebrates foreign capital inflows, conspicuously silent on the largest ever FDI deal, the big billion deal? The resultant upsurge in homegrown protectionism and politics over startup India's watershed moment is what we are debating tonight on the India Development Debate. Joining us on the show this evening, Ashwini Mahajan, National Co-Convener, Swadeshi Jagran Manch; Ajay Dua, former DIPP Secretary; Viren Shah, President, Federation of Retail Traders Welfare Association; Sunil Alag, commentator and founder of SKA Advisors; and Harminder Sani, founder and MD, Wazir Advisors. We've got all corners covered on this big debate right here on ET Now. Let me start off with you, Ajay Dua, since you've been in this position before as the Industry Secretary to the Government of India. Is this really a backdoor entry for Walmart?
A very difficult question to answer. But let me start by saying that Walmart has been present in India, as we know, in the business of cash and carry, where it's doing business basically B2B, business to business. That's what it was permitted to do with the kind of equity holding which it has. It could not come into single brand retail or into multi-brand. Single brand retail was in any case going to be tough because it sells several brands, and in multi-brand retail there were other onerous conditions which it would probably did not find amiable. Given that fact, it has come into a space where the FDI regulations have yet to be spelt out. It is a field where we do not have as yet in the country an e-commerce policy, and certainly we also do not have any policy with respect to FDI in e-commerce business. When I say we do not have policy, that means there is no prohibition, there is no restrictive clause. It is so companies like Amazon have come, and now Walmart has come, but somewhat indirectly, because already in Flipkart foreign investors were there, and Flipkart was a company registered in Singapore. The investors, foreign investors, have been replaced by several foreign investors have been replaced by one, which happens to be Walmart. So whether it has come surreptitiously or not is a difficult question, but the fact of the matter is already foreign investment was there in this field. Amazon has been growing, investing money, and the ownership was entirely of Amazon. Now similarly, at up 77% holding in course of time, and as was indicated yesterday, by the end of the year probably this deal would have been carried through, by when Walmart hopes to have 77% holding in Flipkart.
All right, I'm going to quickly take a question with you, sir, and you represent the Swadeshi Jagran Manch here. Why do you believe, Mr. Dua's been a bureaucrat. He was at the time in the ministry when this application for Walmart actually came for multi-brand retail, was then later rejected. Why do you believe that Walmart is trying to circumvent regulations to enter the Indian market? Why this concern? Why this fear, Mr. Mahajan?
See, we have been maintaining for long that FDI in e-commerce is not allowed in this country. In 2016, we raised this issue, and then there was a hue and cry in the e-commerce sector that yes, they were not allowed and they are not allowed. And then in that point of time, Ministry of Commerce intervened, and they came out with a set of rules in the form of guidelines for platforms. They were claiming that we are platforms, and therefore we are not e-commerce. At that point of time, the Ministry of Commerce decided to frame those rules that they cannot offer price distorting discounts. You remember, before that they used to offer huge discounts. Big newspaper ads were given, 25% for 50% discounts. Right. So a check was placed on the discounts directly given by these companies. Then they found another method. The other method was they formed B2B companies, and they started giving discounts at the B2B level, and then prices were still down. Right. So various complaints were filed in DIPP, in ED, in RBI, and so far, as the other gentleman was saying, that since there is no policy framework, so they were circumventing that law. But let me tell you that this deal is a deal in e-commerce. This deal is for the purchase of the market, not the marketplace. This is not a purchase of marketplace. This is a purchase of market. Our simple question in the Swadeshi Jagran Manch is, how can you sell the Indian market to anybody?
You're saying the market has been sold, but at the end of the day, it's a deal. You know, in paper, Flipkart is a marketplace that's been demonstrated. The government has ruled on it, and they have acquired majority controlling stake in that. That's the simple. Sunil, like, I'm going to come to you, but before that, I want to get in a word from Viren Shah as well, who's the president of the Federation of Retail Traders Welfare Association, who's also opposing the deal. Viren Shah, can you place on record what the opposition is to? At the end of the day, Walmart is, Flipkart is going to remain an individual entity. Walmart says it's not going to sort of, manage this company out of the US. Flipkart will be a board-run company led by an Indian CEO. Walmart is not getting into multi-brand retail. It cannot get into multi-brand retail. So what is this brouhaha all about?
See, first of all, Walmart is already entered India. There are 21 stores which are doing the back route entry and selling everything to anybody who comes to their shop. It's supposed to be the B2B. It's not supposed to be to the consumer directly, but anybody who has a shop and establishment copy, they are easily given license to come and buy. Either he could be a doctor, he has nothing to do with anything, but doctor is a customer, and he can go and buy from any Metro Walmart outlet. So this is actually a backdoor entry which has already been given by the government, and I guess they have already entered. The same BJP government who was supporting traders, opposing the FDI in India, and as on today, now Walmart is come. They were not successful through a lot of other ways, but now through the Flipkart, and maybe in the future there will be 100% allowance to the FDI in multi-brand retailing which may come, because this is all these things are all these is a made up things which is going to come, and this is not only a threat to our Indian traders, but it is a cutthroat competition which we are opposing. The Walmart has a habit of cutting the prices. If it is a healthy competition, we have no issue, but it's a cutthroat competition. How they enter in the market, they try to kill all the local kirana stores, they try to kill all the local traders, and they try to kill the prices of the product, and by doing that they kill all the little shopkeepers, mom and pop shops all over India, and the whole thing they will try to control the prices eventually. So right now there are only two players in the market. One is now Walmart and of course Amazon, but all these people will come into the retail in multi-brand retailing. This is a step towards bringing in multi-brand retail allowance by the BJP. Now the same BJP was opposing and supporting the traders against the Congress government, and this is where the threat to the traders for future business. Already electronics, mobile business is dying, all the electronics, branded stuffs are dying because of the online competition, and now the Walmart coming in, it's a threat to all the retailers in India.
Right. Viren Shah, I understand your grouse and I understand your concerns, but what I don't understand is that are we here trying to talk protectionist? And Sunil, I'm going to ask you this question. You've heard the Swadeshi Jagran Manch, you've heard Viren Shah, the trader community essentially. Is all of this nothing but protectionist ploy? The Prime Minister speaks about embracing globalization at the world stage when he's at Davos. And yet what the traders perhaps want is a ban on Walmart's entry. Isn't this a protectionist ploy at the end of the day?
You know, I think it's an age-old argument, like the communists always brave America and the imperial system. When modern trade came in and Kishore Bayani opened his big bazaars, all of them complained, that will be the end of all of us. You are allowing all these stores to come up. Ultimately, it's the consumer. If he's getting it at a lower price, best of luck to those who survive. It's about time everybody understood that. Every consumer is going to look for things which is the lower price for him. So, and then are they trying to tell me if Flipkart remained with the Indian companies, they were very happy. Now that Walmart has come, this is going to happen. There's Snapdeal, there are all Indian companies, they don't complain about them. The moment any foreign company comes in, they start complaining. Jio has done the same in the retail. Vodafone, the foreign company is complaining. Vodafone is complaining, but everybody is happy with Jio because they've reduced the rates. You have to grow up now. The economy is moving towards digital. And even today, if you ask me, modern trade only accounts for 10 to 12% of total trade. 88% belong to mom and pop stores. All over the world, mom and pop stores are showing a revival. I'm asking everyone here to wake up. If any company is coming in, giving employment and getting on with the job, don't oppose. Simple as that. You all opposed first modern trade. Modern trade came in. As long as it was Indian, you all kept quiet. The moment a foreigner comes in, you all complain. Jio is an Indian company that has reduced the rates. Foreign companies are complaining. Ultimately, the consumer benefits. Wake up and smell the coffee. That's what I tell everybody. The way India ran 20 years ago, it's not going to run the way it's in the next 20 years. Government is also saying new jobs are going to be created. GST has brought computerism into everything so that everybody pays taxes. I don't understand their logic. The same guys were complaining about Indian modern trade first, 4 years ago. And now they are complaining about foreign. What are the foreigners doing that no Indian company wasn't doing? Come on, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's all. So
I take that
following
point.
the law and that's it.
Okay, I take that point. I take that point, Sunil.
BJP, Congress,
I take that point,
Sunil. Consumer is most important.
Yeah, which is why we've kept politicians out of this debate.
Consumer is benefiting
I
from
take
this.
that point, and which is why.
That's all.
Absolutely, and which is why we've kept politicians out of this debate, and we're trying to substantively debate the concerns raised by traders,
BJP
which is an important constituent of the economy and an important
it.
political constituency as well. I will, exactly. But I'm coming to you before I go to Harminder Sani. I want to come to you, Ashwini Mahajan, for a quick rebuttal to the point made there by Sunil. Like, if I may add to that, what has really changed? I mean, Flipkart was also now predominantly owned by a clutch of foreign investors, whether it was SoftBank, whether it was Tiger Global. It's been replaced by another foreign investor, large strategic foreign direct investor, Walmart, known as the sort of beast of Bentonville. We realize the reputation of this company. Yet fundamentally, what has changed on the ground? And if this means prices are going to come down, if consumers are going to benefit, then why should we as a country oppose this? Ashwini Mahajan.
Let me tell you what is fundamentally changed. Give me time. Sure. One, Walmart is not known as an e-commerce company. It is a retail company, number one. Number two, when Walmart comes, it comes with the deep pockets. They can simply give away 1 lakh crores for acquiring a cash-ridden company for the simple reason that they have a market. and they come with the deep pockets. Let me tell you, government has failed, I am underlining, failed to protect the interest of the startups in e-commerce by not checking the B2B discounts. And this thing is going to continue if this deal goes on. Third, about the job losses. Let me tell you, you must get your facts corrected. Nobody is talking about it. Walmart is the single largest company importing Chinese products. It comes at the 7th position, 6 are the countries, and 7th is this company. Right. Now, we are aspiring to be a great nation, a manufacturing hub. A Make in India program is going on. And at this point of time, if we are allowing this company who is importing and selling all these Chinese products at their stores, what they are going to do in India? The same thing they are going to continue. Now, let me answer the gentleman, Mr. Sunil, I believe, that this is not about hue and cry about lower prices and this thing and that thing. It is about a bigger picture. Let me tell him this is a bigger picture. Bigger picture is that of GDP growth, that of employment growth, that of manufacturing growth in the country. And if any efforts of such types are made, our Make in India dream will tarnish.
All these years, this Make in India dream never really took off. So I'm wondering if keeping Walmart out will make it fuel it. But you have a point there. But I'll go to Harminder Sahni. And Harminder Sahni, you've heard both sides of very passionate arguments, But the fact that Walmart doesn't have a marketplace model anywhere else in the world doesn't mean they can't have it here in India.
Yeah, sure. See, even Walmart doesn't even have a cash and carry model of any consequence anywhere in the world. So people have been talking about the backdoor entry. I simply say that there are different doors to enter a country. Right now, as a country, to protect the traders and the retailers, we are keeping the door on multi-brand outlets closed. So a multi-brand retail is a closed door. So it's not a backdoor entry. So Walmart and people like Walmart are coming through the other door, which is open legally for them to come into come into wholesale cash and carry or come into e-commerce marketplaces. So that's where they are coming in. So nothing is changed except that now it's a Walmart, which has obviously a very, let's say, difficult kind of a reputation even in the US and anywhere in the world where they have gone, because they are so large, they are a dominant player and it threatens everybody who is in the business. But the people who are threatened by them are the people who are serving the same consumers or wanting the same market share or wanting to sell it to the same customers to whom Walmart is able to sell at a much lower prices. So today we are talking about the discounts and deep discounts and the promotions and everything given. 50 years ago, Walmart in US started with the concept called everyday low prices. Every retailer otherwise used to seasonally or periodically go on promotions and give discounts. Walmart came in and said that no discount, every day you will get the lowest price. And that's how become the largest retailer in US. Till 35 years ago, they were one of the at the fourth place, and then within next 10 years they became number 1. And today they are around $600 billion in business because the consumers are going to them because they offer the widest range, conveniently available all the time and available at everyday low prices. And this is what they are going to offer to Indian consumers, even though through a marketplace or through a cash and carry model. Consumers will buy from them. Walmart has been here, there are 21 stores. How much market share do they have in that wholesale business? Right. So it's not that Walmart, wherever they go, they become successful. They have failed in many countries, but they are like any other company coming into a market through the legal route and trying to offer customers the service and the product and the price which customers, whether the customers will like it, not like it, let the market forces play out in that. Amazon is not a pushover. So if you are worried about Walmart, Amazon is already here. Right, so which is a far more successful. Walmart is scared of Amazon in US. There have been papers written on it that how Amazon will become bigger than Walmart by 2025. So who is bigger and who is more scarier?
So I think what is key to determine here, like you said,
why we are at any instance.
Absolutely. I take your point there. I think the point that you made is very clear. As long as they have here through the legal route, through established channels, then, you know, I think some of this opposition is probably misplaced. That's the sum and substance of what Harminder Sahni was saying there. But Ajay Dua, if I could come to you and, you know, just to play the devil's advocate, you know, some amount of concern, you know, at the end of the day, Walmart is no Tiger Global, you know, it's some amount of concern and paranoia rooted in Walmart's track record. Harminder spoke about it as well. It is, after all, for no reason that it's called the beast of Bentonville. You know, it is very reluctant to settle cases out of court. Verdicts against Walmart are usually low. Most lawyers are not interested in filing suits against Walmart. It is often criticized for driving out small businesses, uses child labor, underpays women. I mean, these are things that have been known and chronicled over years and decades. So it has a certain reputation that precedes itself. And so, to that extent, is this paranoia justified?
I think the apprehensions of Indian retailers, whether they are in the organized sector or otherwise, is based exactly on the observation, your observations, that hitherto the investors were a clutch of foreign investors, the word used by one of you, who were not really in the business of retailing, they were in the business of investment, financial investments. They were looking forward to returns which they have reaped, people who invested in Flipkart. Instead of them, now has come somebody who is in the business of retailing. It may be brick and mortar retailing, but someone who has a reputation of being aggressive, reputation some in a number of ways not very charitable about the kind of things which you pointed out. This is the fact that it's the largest probably retailer in the world, and that it has in the past been able to succeed in more countries than where it has failed. That is bothering the retailers of India like nothing else before. Amazon, at the point of when Amazon came into the country and built up its investments to almost $10 billion, they didn't quite think that the quantum of e-commerce in the country would build up to the level which it has, and what it is showing as a potential. Somebody very recently said within 3 years it will be 4x of what it is today. So now they are coming to grips with the fact that it is not the Indian retailers, that it is not merely the brick and mortar stores, multi-brand retail, they are not being allowed, but even e-commerce they have to worry about, and particularly when it's growing as fast as it has. Having said that, I think there are still ways and means of ensuring that the sourcing, somebody referred to, a fellow panelist had just referred to, saying the biggest imports will take place from China, because the Walmart is a very big importer of goods from China. I think the way the government was looking at when multi-brand retail was being allowed into India, that let's try and make sure that some of this sourcing is done in India. If you recall that what was earlier said.
That's a point indeed. That's a point we appreciate, Mr. Dua, but I want to take it across to Sunil Alagh right now. Yes, I get that point, but I'm going to take it across to Sunil Alagh because you mentioned the government. And I'm a little perplexed this evening, Sunil Alagh. In fact, 24 hours have passed ever since this mega watershed moment came and went in the Indian startup space. It's a huge validation for the India retail market, and yet there seems to be no effort, no voice embracing this big deal from the government. It is the largest ever FDI flow into the country, $16 billion, and uncharacteristic to New Delhi. Nobody seems to be calling this a validation of the ease of doing business or the reform drive. Why do you believe that's happening? Why this conspicuous silence?
Look, you know, for politicians, there's on the 12th, there's the Karnataka elections coming up, so they're all focusing on that. So you wait till the economic issue comes up and later on we'll discuss. But I want to, answer Ashwani ji because he took my name. Look, Hindustan Motors was there in Make in India earlier. Don't allow anyone else. You would have still had an Hindustan Motors and a Premier automobile. Come on, see, the world is moving. There are two estimations is that the e-commerce will become $200 billion. Whether any, in India, whether any foreigner comes in, whether any Indian comes in, that is the forecast. About time all retailers realize that that's where the future is. If Walmart is paying a large amount of money, don't blame Walmart. If we are importing from China, you can talk to the government. Stop Chinese, Walmart will also stop. Why are we blaming Walmart of all things? We are encouraging every foreign company to come into India, generate employment, generate business, look after the consumer. Here we are all jumping up and down against Walmart, jumping up and down against the government. Go to the government and tell them, please bring about a policy where Chinese imports are stopped. Please bring about a policy, but don't blame foreign companies when they are coming in. They are generating employment, they are putting money into India, which India needs for its GDP growth, whether you like it or not. All I'm saying is that, look, wake up, $200 billion is going to be on the net. If you're expecting all, say 10 years from today, all retailers should be looking at grocery. So far, grocery is out. This is what Walmart will be investing in for the future. Why are they paying such a high price? If you take the high price today, it's very high. But if you think of India and China in the future, they think that's where it lies. And they are, just because they are not in this business, everybody is moving into adjacent businesses. IBM died when they had those big computers. They never cared about the small laptop. They never cared. So the world is moving faster than either the Swadeshi Jagran or whatever your organization is, or the retailers. It's about time we moved with the same speed. That's all I'm saying. Don't blame a company. If you got anything against the government, go to them. Tell them to stop everything. If they'll stop, that's all.
Before I come to Ashwini Mahajan, I need to get a quick quote from Viren Shah.
Viren Shah,
they are getting a better deal. You have a problem, go. Yeah, Viren Shah. Yeah, so Viren Shah respond to the point. He's saying the consumers are getting a better deal. If you have a problem, go to the government. Don't stall a particular company or stall a particular transaction because it's detrimental to the interest of a section of traders. And to add to that, this point about jobs, you know, and I know that you've made this case on why this deal could be detrimental to the interest of job creation. Whereas, you know, Walmart's global CEO emphatically stated that they'll be hiring aggressively over the next few years, specifically in the area of logistics, which could create lakhs of jobs. So why do you believe this will eliminate jobs and not add jobs? Viren Shah.
See, there are two things. When the FDI was in discussion, that time the government has said very categorically that local traders will be protected. All those people, foreign companies coming into India, they have to ensure they buy from Indian suppliers and Indian manufacturers, and that is why Make It India, Make in India project was highlighted. And the whole thing is about Make in India. That project is completely disappeared, and suddenly foreign trade is starting. Walmart imports more than 90% of the products from China. So that means nothing will be bought from Indian traders, Indian manufacturers. Everything will be bought from China. I agree. Consumer is king. Consumer is getting benefit. At the end of the day, consumer is the final decision taker. But what about the protection to the local traders? Today, more than 60% of the people are from the villages and the 2-tier and 3-tier towns. What about protection to those traders? And secondly, I would like to highlight one thing. Why all these big channels are only talking about a couple of billion, 20 billion, 200 billion? Why are not they saying that the Amazon and the Flipkart together are making a loss of 7,000 crore every year? And that is where the money has to bring in. And that is why Walmart has come into the picture, because all those investors are running away from all these online players because of the losses. And that is why cutthroat competition is the main reason where they are cutting down all the Indian traders.
Okay, I take that point, but Viren, you're questioning the fundamental tenets of capitalism. There are marquee investors who are willing to write a check because they believe in the inherent potential of this business, and they believe earn money at some stage. You know, people aren't fooled to write a check of $16 billion if they don't believe there's a path to profitability. But, you know, I'm coming to you, Ashwini Mahajan, and, you know, I'm still a little confused. This whole concern of sourcing from China. I mean, what was Flipkart doing right now? Flipkart today is a marketplace where it sources materials from Indian small and medium enterprises and sells it to Indian consumers. So now the ownership and the board composition of Flipkart will change. Yet, to my understanding, the same thing will happen. They will still continue to source, whether you're buying a phone or whatever, from Indian vendors and sell to Indian customers. So what changes? I mean, where does this China equation come into the, equation? I don't understand. Ashwini Mahajan, can you please, explain that to me, please?
First of all, let me correct the anchors that this investment which you are talking about, FDI, is not going to come to
only
India.
$2 billion is invested.
So let me correct you that it is not 15-20 billion dollars. It is it will be just $2 billion. That too in a company which is a cash-ridden company, which doesn't have any cash for the reason that they have been burning cash for capturing the market, and this has been happening. They started with it. They started getting money from outside, and they kept on burning the money. So is this a business? I'm asking you, is this a business that you are burning money to capture the market, to give discounts? And this is one. Secondly, there is an issue of taxation. Already Finance Ministry has started. Let me complete, madam. You have said $15 billion. That's why I'm saying that it is not $15 billion. And the second thing is about the taxation part. This is another Vodafone case is making. In Vodafone case, 12,000 crores of rupees of tax was evaded. Then country had to make another law. Again, that and so much of hue and cry in the economic circle was made. Let me complete. So that is the second thing. And already Ministry of Finance has started inquiring about it. Thirdly, about the fact that now the ownership has changed. It is not Flipkart Bansal. It is Walmart, and Walmart will always. What I'm saying is, who owns the capital will have its policies, and therefore you please understand that Walmart is going to follow the same kind of policies which they have been following
Mr.
globally.
Mahajan, I have two very important points to make on what you've said. A, who are we to question the whole business model of e-com? That's how it's being done in this country. You can't you can't fault the place. This is the business model they've chosen to go with. We can't say they may be burning cash or not. And the other part is, I don't think we are at all supporting any tax evasion. And I don't think Walmart is saying they will not pay taxes. Yes, the Indian government has already begun inquiring into how the deal structure is, what kind of money is due. So I think on that ground, we are absolutely with you that yes, tax, if liable, should be paid. But I don't think Walmart has said they will not pay tax, unlike Vodafone. But I'm going to go across to Mr. Sani on this, and I have to ask you this question. The business model of e-com is now being questioned. Are we moving away from the moot question of the opposition now? What is the opposition to? Is the opposition to Walmart, or is the opposition to an e-commerce player? Because that's exactly how everybody in Indian e-commerce has been operating.
Right. So it's not only the e-commerce, and let's say, so let me name the company. Look at Reliance. Reliance started their retail business in 2005. When did they make first profit? In 2015. Right? Any new business, any new market, people are investing businesses. Same is true about Future Group also. Same is true about Shoppers Stop. Same will be true about D-Mart, because it was a private company, we will not know the numbers. But if we go back, they must have lost money for many, many years before they started making money. It is not about e-commerce, it's about any business that you have to invest money first, you have to spend money first, you have to seduce the consumers, you have to do whatever needs to be done to build your brands, spend on advertising, and eventually you start making money. Some businesses will never make money and they will shut down. They will burn too much money, they will never make profit, and they will shut down. And some businesses will make sooner, some will make later. So it's not about e-commerce business model. It could be any cost. So let's say if I was an offline retailer, I take a prime store, pay very high rental, expecting to make money, but I don't make money, so I lose money, but I'll continue to be there for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and 7th year I start making money. But in this case, I'm not buying a store or I'm not renting a store, I'm starting an online business, right? And I'm spending money on advertising, I'm spending money on giving discounts. End result is the same, that I'm losing money for many years before I start making money. So while I am completely in agreement with this part that there should not be any distortion which should be happening, and government has put rules in place, there are policies, they have closed down doors on multi-brand retail, but saying that some business is losing money, so they should not be allowed to do business, it doesn't make any business sense. That's how it has been since ever. It's nothing to do with the e-commerce. This is the basic tenet of doing business. Any small or big business doesn't start making money from day one. Yes, if the argument is coming from somebody who is running a small little shop, a small vendor who buys stuff in the morning and by evening he makes money, then one can say that. But any large business, any scalable business, any corporate business, manufacturing, services, retailing, e-commerce, telecom, financial services, this is how it is. You lose money first and then you start making at some point of time, and that's not losing money. You show it in your P&L account, but it's a balance sheet item. You are investing in your business, you're capitalizing so that you can at some point of time start seeing return on that. And that's every businessman, every corporation hopes to do that. Not everybody succeeds like that. So maybe Walmart, like they have failed in so many other countries. Amazon failed in China. They may fail here also and go back home. Good luck to them.
Okay, and that's the risk that they take. And I think you've sort of really identified the concern. And Ajay Dua, if I could come to you, the concern on predatory pricing and deep discounting is genuine. You know, no matter which side of the argument you are in, you can't run away from this concern on predatory pricing and deep discounting. So how can the government ensure that SMEs and retailers and these kirana stores don't get disrupted, and yet how can the government not be seen as intervening in the functioning of the market? I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we want, you know, free market reform. So you don't want the government to be intervening on how a marketplace functions. And yet, you know, it has to be sensitive to the concerns to the extent that there is no predatory pricing, there's no deep discounting. I mean, is there some sort of regulatory comfort needed?
I think as of now, there was a vacuum in the regulatory framework. That is what has been taken advantage of by e-commerce companies, both Indian, for which it was a free space, and by the foreign companies, because the FDI rules allowed them to come. But going forward, we would need to balance this absolute freedom with some concerns for the Indian retail industry, whether it's organized or unorganized, because of two things. One, it happens to be a very large employer. Employer may be a family labor, part family, part paid for, but it is employment being generated, and I understand it is just next to agriculture. So some consideration has to be given to that aspect. Second, there is certainly need for us to build a retailing setup for our farmers, farm produce, and all the back-end investment which comes with having to find a market for agriculture produce, because without a strong agriculture, I don't think, and I'm making a very strong statement, no future for Indian organized industry, no future for Indian services, if 60% of the people who live in the rural areas do not have the affordable, the power of affordability to purchase products. And that is where, when regulations were being made for opening up retailing, multi-brand or single brand, two considerations were paramount. One, how to protect employment, and the way it was said was there may be some disruption in production of, or some disruption in the engagement of labor, family labor, etc., but it's going to get replaced by youngsters who are IT literate and who are probably are matriculates at least, rather than the family labor or the illiterate, semi-illiterate people who today are in the retail sector unorganized. Second, it was clearly said that certain amount of sourcing of products will have to take place from the SME sector, later on diluted to say it will, I think the figure was 30% of what is sold, that it will come from, it will have to come from Indian sources. I think we may need to look at that even in e-commerce, at least for the future players. Second,
you made that point
there was
earlier
also
as well.
a consideration which went, I
yes,
think,
Mr. Dua, I'm sorry.
no, I think
really
let me just build on it, that there was
really
a point that shelf space and value for food and agriculture is necessary in every retail store, so that the benefit goes to the Indian farmer rather, because particularly you are not going to be, fresh food has to be procured locally rather than importing from elsewhere, and that was where we would have the benefit of e-commerce flowing deep down into the system.
Okay, you made the point earlier as well. I'm going to go across to Viren Shah. And Viren, you know, I think the basis of this entire debate is some kind of paranoia that traders themselves and the small kiranas themselves are being fed with. Can a Walmart or an Amazon replace the local kirana wala? Are we underestimating the might of the kind of web, the kind of network that the local kirana wala has? Will they deliver 6 eggs for me in the morning? I mean, those are the moot questions. Are we fearing the unknown, and are we underestimating our own local kirana stores that have survived the test of time? Viren.
No, the kirana stores, all those people who are doing a business, they are very, very smart. They know how to do the business. Only worry for our kirana stores and all the other people who are small, the worry part is the cutthroat competition. It's below the cost price selling, large scale buying and below the cost price selling. That is where the problem starts. And all these people are selling in a losses, and that's why losses are mounted up. Government has realized this, and that's why they have kept a rider. But unfortunately, this is only on paper. At the end of the day, the cutthroat competition is still there. There are losses, and losses have been mounting up. Nothing happens. People are there to give them money. People are there to invest in this company. And this is where the worry part. If it is a healthy competition, all the Indian traders, all the shopkeepers are ready to fight and take them on Amazon, Walmart or whoever it is. But it has to be a level playing field, because the smaller traders, they don't get any enough loan from the bank. They don't have any backing from the government. They do from their own family money. And at the end of the day, today, what is the scenario? Because of the competition from online, because of these Walmart coming through the back route entry, people are scared, and they already started giving their shops rental to the banks and other places. Today, all the shops are slowly closing down all over India. People who have the owner of the shop, they started taking employment in the offices or multinational companies. All these things are started. So employment loss is already created in India because of this online and now the Walmart through the back route entry.
Yeah, I take that point, and economists would argue this is what you call value migration. Value has migrated from some part of the unorganized sector to the organized sector, and that has led to some job losses in the unorganized sector, but equally a lot of jobs are being created in the organized sector. But, you know, let's keep economics 101 aside. I think the larger point that I think either your association or CAIT has made is the need for a regulatory framework for the e-commerce sector as a whole. I think Mr. Ajay Dua alluded to it in some form as well. Sunil, like, do you believe that this merit to have a regulatory body to oversee e-commerce sector to ensure that this deep discounting is not happening or predatory pricing is not happening? Is that needed? Do we need more regulation or less regulation in a sector like e-commerce? What happens in India in a sector that gets over-regulated?
Look, no, 1 second. Deep discounting is taking place in what? There's an MRP which is put on all the products. Anyone is allowed to sell it lower than that. Nobody can sell it higher than that. It's up to the shopkeeper or anyone to say, I'm going to sell at a price lower than the MRP because I want my business to grow. How are you ever going to regulate that? I take Ajay Dua's point, which is a separate point on how to look after agricultural produce. It's got nothing to do with the issue we are discussing today, which is Walmart and entering back door, front door. They have not violated any rule. So don't call it a back door entry and a front door through the window. They are they do not violate any rule. You got a problem, go to the government. Do not blame Walmart. Now Walmart is selling, okay, do you know what percentage of them can a doctor go and buy one soap from there? Why are you misleading people? You have to buy a dozen soap. You have to buy 24 soaps. 1 second. All wholesalers who come and sell in tier 2, tier 3 pick up the stuff at deep discount. They are the ones who make the money when they go to the mom and pop store and sell it to the public. What is wrong? Let's talk about the percentage that you are talking about. Maybe 2-3% are that kind of people. 90% are actually benefiting. There is not a single company that I know, and I deal with a lot of multinationals and big companies. None of them are ever saying that your mom and pop stores is going to go out of business. They don't want, they will have 85%, 90% of the business is through mom and pop stores. Quote the figures. Up to now, even Big Bazaar and all coming in have not gone beyond 9 or 10%. Why don't you tell the public over 10 years? Now we are saying, no, a company shouldn't lose money. A company shouldn't say, who are we? Let the company, whether Indian or foreign, want to lose money in India, give the consumer a benefit,
Okay.
give it. What is the problem? I don't understand. We are now saying how to run companies. We are now talking about how the farmers should be looked after, which the government is going to do. That 100 plus 50%, Ajay, they are bringing it in. But that has nothing to do with Walmart. Walmart is not getting there. Then they blame Pepsi when Pepsi was coming in. All the potato farmers in Punjab,
Yes,
you go and thank,
yes.
they all thank Pepsi for coming in. Ultimately, at the end of the day, wake up and smell the coffee. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Walmart is not going to go and
Sunil,
tell the
I think-
farmers,
yes.
come on, yaar, please do it. Government is doing it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
everything
Sunil,
is
like
given
just
away
hold
to
your
foreign
thoughts
companies,
there.
everything
I
the
have
foreign
one
companies
very
are coming and
important.
destroying.
हाँ, ठीक है. I have one very important question to ask of you, Mr. Mahajan. And this question comes out of curiosity more than anything else. You know, online retail is just 3% of the entire organized retail market. Why? And it's not as if Walmart is the first operator to come here and try and do things. There's been an Amazon which has captured 50% of that market. Why were no voices of protests being raised when Amazon was slowly and silently capturing that market and putting in the $1 billion to win this market over? Why were there no protests then? Why is there a protest on Walmart CEO's visit? Why were there no protests when Jeff Bezos visited India? Mr. Mahajan?
I will satisfy your curiosity. You see, Walmart has been there already. I have already told you, it is not known for its e-commerce. It's known for its retail trading outside India and wholesale trading in India. And now, all these platform companies are not allowed to have their logistics, they are only platforms, let me tell you. Therefore, when Walmart comes, then e-commerce and stock holdings, they go together, and therefore the problem comes, the problem of B2B discounting, and those gentlemen who are saying that there is business model, how can you question that? I can question business model. If it is killing my small shopkeepers, I can question business model. If my manufacturing is destroyed, I can question business model. If my Make in India dream is destroyed, I can question. It is not that businesses can do business, but they have no right to kill my traditional economy, my manufacturers and my Make in India dream. This is one. Second, the second question, you are saying that there is a transfer of jobs. There is a transfer of jobs. No, it is destroying of jobs, because globally it is established that out of 265 jobs lost because of the Walmart's opening stores, only 3 jobs are created in the Walmart stores. So wherever Walmart goes, out of 4-kilometer radius, no shops are left. Therefore, now they are entering, we are again and again saying that they are entering into multi-brand retail through backdoor, and they will be selling their produce and not produced from China. And if somebody says that we have no business, and somebody was saying that let us tell government to stop. Every person, every economist knows that we cannot stop Chinese imports. We cannot stop Chinese imports for the simple reason that we have signed WTO. Therefore saying that we should ask government. Yes, we have asked the government. We are not asking Walmart to go out. We are asking government. We have written to the Prime Minister
what
on
the government
this
does. I mean, on the one hand, he's sort of, offering the red carpet to foreign investors, wants people to come in and invest in the country. And will he stall is what we'll have to wait and see. I'm completely running out of time, so I'm going to let Harminder Sahni have the last word. In some sense, do you agree that there's this distrust of foreign capital, and what do you attribute that to? And this whole issue of FDI and multi-brand retail, is there a case to relook at their entire policy now of FDI and multi-brand retail?
Yeah, I think so. One, like you said, distrust of foreign capital. I think as Indians, so we have it in our DNA that we have distrust because of East India Company experiences. Somewhere we have this reaction to foreign capital, while it actually comes and benefits some of us individually or some of the community or some of the businesses, then we welcome it greatly. Even the politicians, when it makes sense for them, they go gaga over foreign investment. But moment it is not in their favor, they start saying all these things. Just one more point on that. We are all thinking as if Walmart has managed to buy Indian market at a very low price, and that's what they are going to be really getting rich, or they are going to take all the riches from this country. Yesterday their share price tanked by 5%. So they are paying $16 billion here to buy a company, and their market cap goes down by another 15 billion on the other side. Right, so as a Walton family who is buying into it, as a family they lost maybe $10 billion yesterday just because they made this deal. Because the analysts sitting there, they believe that they have bought a company which is losing $700 million every year. Right, it's a bad deal they are making. Right, so we are thinking as if they are going to they have deep pockets, they have all the money in the world, all of it. They don't have that. Their share is tanking. The company will be losing 700 million. So whatever they are paid is paid. $2 billion put into the company. They'll have to put more and more money into it. I don't think they are going to continue to lose money on every transaction. I believe Walmart coming in, the overall market is going to mature. The kind of price wars we had seen early, because the upstart companies with the money from the financial investors who were looking for quick returns, they were running the market amok. And I have been on public record on this saying that this predatory pricing, discounting is not good for the brands, it's not good for the retailer, it's not good for the e-commerce. I think now some sensibility will, because these are both public limited companies now in the US market, and their stocks are traded. They are analysts every week, they are talking to them, they are looking at their numbers. I don't think this will continue, so we should not worry about that part. Other part, we should set our house in order, and exactly this whole foreign direct FDI policy for the retail, I have seen it for years. I have been in this space for a very long time. It is so distorted, it's so confusing that if you start questioning and quizzing me on the policy where it stands today, I think I will fail to answer your questions satisfactorily, because somewhere I will confuse.
I don't think it's just
the
other
multi-brand, single brand.
Sani, we're completely out of time here. I'm sorry, I'll have to interrupt you there. I'm sorry, I will have to interrupt you there because we're completely out of time here. And on that note, I will have to thank all my guests here. It isn't just you. I think if you begin questioning people in the government, they'll begin get confusing about the multi-brand retail policy. But I think Walmart is one of the largest retailers in the world. It does raise tentacles wherever in the world it often goes to. But is there ground for suspicion really? Could Indian retail come of age by Walmart's entry? Could this mean the farm to fork losses will be diminished? Are traders perhaps too worried? And is there really fear for, is there ground for this sort of fear? And will politicians speak up? And will politicians make their stance clear? If India wants to woo foreign capital, can we afford to shoo a Walmart away?
Thanks so much for being with us. Thank you to this wonderful panel for that fiery debate on the India development debate. Do stay with us on ET Now. Up next is Top 10 at 10 with Tanya Bharadwaj. Good night.